Today we're going to be changing out a old spa pack. The Gecko, the board went on this one. So we're going to be installing a new Balboa BP7. And we'll show you how to do that. This hot tub here only has one pump, 2-speed. Low speed is for the heat. So empty your tub, just easier to do that. Turn the power off. There's a disconnect there, but if you have power off inside, make sure your power's off. So for this pack here, we're going to have to disconnect the wire coming in, take all the wires off right there, and then move that out of the way. And then we have to change. Got to make sure too that you have the cord. This cord here is not going to fit in the BP7, so we have a cord for that. So you got to make sure that whatever pumps you have, like this one's a 2-speed, so you need one with the red wire, so it's red, black, white, ground. And if you have one pump, maybe you have a pump over here that's just 1-speed. All information's right on the pump if it's a 2-speed or a 1-speed. You just go by what it says on RPMs. If there's RPMs and a slash and then there's other RPMs, then that's 2-speed. If it's just a 4-digit number like 3,500, then it's just 1-speed. But if it's 3,500 slash 1,200, then it's low speed, high speed. And you just need a cord that has the black, white, and ground. And then disconnect the 2 unions, loosen those, both sides. Now, if you have a different pack than the S-Class Gecko, you got to make sure for the BP7, I think it's around 15 inches. So you got to measure your heat tube. So you push that out. So you got to measure your heat tube from there to there and make sure that the BP7 can fit right back in there. Now for this, the BP7 has a sensor on either side. You have a high limit and then you have the temp sensor. Now a lot of tubs will have a high limit. This here is the high limit. So there's the high limit, and then the temp sensor plugs in there and it goes right to the tub. It depends on what type of sensor's in there. If it's where you can see the sensor, the steel, you just got to cut the back of the wire off. But we'll get to that in a second here. The top side, we got lights that we're going to put into the new one. For this one here, we have those. So we're going to have to cut these off because on the new one doesn't have this connection. You could cut this off if the light's too far in there and you can't change it. But this light here is right there. So it's easy access, so we can just get the new wire that comes with the pack and then hook it to the new pack. It's a different plug-in. So disconnect stuff. Now if the top side is still going to be good, so you can always sell that online. So just don't start cutting stuff. You only cut it if you have to. So there's the temp. This is the temp sensor. Oh, there's a wire that came off. So there's the top side. That's the sensor. Get the pack out of the way because everything's disconnected. Kind of a mess underneath there. So while you're in there, clean up all the stuff. All kinds of critters get in there, mice, everything else. So the light you can get to. So we're going to take the light off. You can take the light. Turns counterclockwise. Keep the bulb, because you're going to need that for the next one. More than likely your pack's not going to come with it. Now here's the sensor. So we have to look inside to see if we have to cut that or take it out. And as you can see, we can see the sensor. Now if you saw plastic, then it's totally enclosed. This one's not. We're gonna have to get the sensor wire as close as you can. Just gonna leave that in because it's basically a plug now. Take that out, it's just gonna drain. Okay, since the pack's out, we're gonna have to change this cord. We have to put the 2-speed cord in. So either you can take the pump right out, or just get to the, if you can get to the back. Most hot tubs you're gonna have to take this pump right out and deal with it. And you can see the spray, see that rusty stuff in the back right there, all the way up, straight line. That's from the seal leaking. So the seal's been leaking and it's been spraying out right there. You should take the pump out if you know the seal's leaking. Take the pump out, change the seal before you put the pack back in front of it here. So address this first. Link it down below how to change. Actually change the same one here, Executive 48. Change the seal on this. Changing the cord. Make sure you can take a picture of this, but make sure how it sits here. See a white, red, black. So I would recommend taking a picture of that so you remember. White, red, black. The new cord has a different type of plug. So remember, white, red, black for that pump. So each pump's going to be different on how it comes in. So you could have a connector here. But for this pump here, normally there's a groove. Fit through the bottom of it. So we're going to come through the bottom like this. So we're going to go white. And these connectors are a little different than the other one, but they work. Fit right on there. White. Red, black. Red. I'm gonna a little tangled up here. Maybe go this one on the outside. Well, maybe go this way. White, red, black. Then we have a ground. So it's going to sit like this. Okay, make sure nothing's touching. Got a ground wire. Now the old wire had this little clip, so I'm going to put it on the new one just to hold it here. And then kind of went right in there. Not all the pumps are going to have this, right? So normally there's a groove there, and then when you put the back of the cover on, it pinches it. Just so nothing gets pulled. Okay, so there we go. Nothing's pulling it. This ground's there. Everything's in good. Put the cover back on. See, it just goes up through the bottom. And put the back on. Snug. So the pump's back in. Make sure if you see that spray or if it's leaking a bit, change that seal. The new spa pack should have these on the end. You don't need these parts, but you could take the brand new gaskets. Now there's the old one. You could still use it, but I'd recommend, hey, you got new ones, might as well put it in. Use some grease. I'll link some stuff down below that you could use. I just grease it up. Also, it helps when you put it in so it doesn't fall out. And if you've changed a few of these in the past or any pumps, you'll know what I mean. These things fall out all the time. So I used to put silicone, but it has to be greased up anyway. So I found if you put lots of grease on it, There's only groove. It only goes one way because there's grooves that fit into that fitting. So we got the spa pack, BP7. So I'm going to take off the 2 screws that are at the top. Now, I don't try to take them out all the way. They're meant to not come out, so you don't have to force it to come out. And they just don't fall off. Put that to the side. Now, because we only have one pump, I don't have to worry about this back part here. But you want this here, this little schedule here. So normally it's on, the settings normally on 19. So 19 here is no circ pump. Pump 1, 2-speed. Pump 2, 2-speed. Yeah, so it shows us 2 pumps. So BP7 is automatically 2 pumps. So both of them, like Jet 1, 2-speed, Jet 2, 2-speed. So you don't have to change this. So because I have 1 pump, I'm going to have to change it. So I got 1 pump, 2-speed, no circ pump. You just got to figure out which one you need. So for this, I could go number 29 or 21. Actually, I need 21. So because I have 1 pump, 2-speed, so I got to set it after to number 21. Now, same as the pins. The pins, I don't have to change anything because A2 is already to heat on low speed. So if you have other pumps, you're going to have to basically look at this thing here and see if you want to change anything. BP7 can handle, if your old pack was a 40 amp, 50 amp, or a 60 amp. This is meant for 5 pumps. So the BP7 controls a lot of stuff if you want to add stuff or if you can add stuff. It's a multi-purpose. You can use 1 pump, 2 pumps, everything else. So if you have two pumps, so this is where your pump 2 is going to go. So pump 2 is going to go on the board here. So pump 2, or you just look in the back of the cover. So there's pump 1 right there. So pump 1 is in the bottom right there. And then pump 2 is right there. The BP7 is going to be wired. Normally it's wired 240 or 220. These here are all the lines to any equipment you have. So they're all plugged in to 220 to 240. So what you're going to have to do is this pump here, or any equipment you have to look on all the diagram. Now it's going to be on the other side of this pump, and you got to make sure that if it's 230, we don't have to move anything. If it's 120, we're going to move this wire that coincides with this for pump 1. If it's 120, we're going to have to move that white wire out of the way, and we're going to have to bring it up to here, which is 120, this group right here. And you can put it anywhere. So if you have an ozonator, so wherever your ozonator is, you look on the diagram on the back, and you just follow along here, the diagram. We'll say this one here, that's the neutral ozone. So you just got to read all this stuff. This is a newer pack. You just have to read this. Whatever you have for equipment, if it's 120, you're going to have to move these lines from here to up here. So make sure before you even turn the power on, what's your pump running. So this pump here is running 230 volts, so I don't have to change anything. So leave the wires where they are. So once you get the wires all in, make sure the gaskets are set right. Try not to knock it off or pinch it. It's a pain, it will just leak. So don't put the screws on the bottom yet. Tighten these up. Be careful tightening these too much because you're twisting this at the same time. So I usually just hold it and then just snug it up. Got our new light. So you can't mess this one up because there's only two prongs on here. So you plug it in the board. Here's a new back for this, but it's already on the old tub. This here is for the top side, and the one inside connected to it, it's a Wi-Fi connector. You can buy that separately. You can get the app and put it on your phone. I do have a video on that also. So find one area. So we're only going to use one spot. This is to block the mice that want to get in there. So I would just take off one spot, because we're going to put the light cord through there and the other cord, and then it just pulls out. So we got one spot. So we're going to go in the center here. So take your pump cord. I'd plug it in first to pump 1, and it can only go one way. So clicks in there. Nice and tidy all the way back. Okay, and then we're going to put the light in there too. I'm going to put that piece back in. Lost the screw, don't lose the screw. Right there. Now you don't have to Arnold Schwarzenegger tighten it. You just want to get these past, just snug in there. Now because I'm putting 2 wires in there, because it's usually just meant for the one, I just don't want to over tighten it. Just so these black pieces are past here. It's just snug so it's not really moving around. That's good right there. Now, once you get everything all connected, you can start filling it up and see if there's any leaks. You might have to tweak the unions a bit. We're going to take out the top side. Now some top side, you might have this one here, but there's some top sides that have a screw underneath, but this one doesn't. It's just glued and there's tape. Sometimes there's a screw there, you unscrew it, and there's a clip underneath. It's on the side here. So for this one here, you just pop underneath. Let's get a screwdriver. Clean all this up, scrubby pad. There's a top side that came with it. This is a TP500. This is a TP600. So it depends on which one you can fit in there. We could have fit either one in. I would have to cut a little bit more. So we're going to put in the TP500. So we're going to have to cut that open more. Get a Sharpie. We're going to try to center that. Just past it. Other side. Don't want to go too far. See how wide. We just have to go a little bit wider. Take off a little bit here. Probably take off about that much. Take that out. Get yourself a jigsaw. And check to see if that works. You don't want to cut too much out. Perfect. So it depends on how your tub's set up, if you're going to have it like this or inwards. For this tub, makes sense because it's kind of sloped to have it on the outside like that. So it's in. So what I do is take the sticker off, get yourself some silicone. I'll link this down below. Nice little bead all the way around. Straighten it out. Make sure there's no plastic on it. And the sticker. What I do is, it's kind of a, it's in a little box. There's a trim on the outside. So if you get this just inside on one corner, corner to corner, straighten it out. So you just plug it in like this on the outside. Just plugs in one way. For now, while it's filling, make sure that just keep the cover off for now. Okay, we got it full. I'm going to turn it on now. So right now it's going through its programming. We can interrupt it by, okay, we're going to put temp. Started it right away. Set it to whatever you want it. Set it for 100. We're gonna have to change the programming on this because it's going to be set for 19. We could just leave it, but I'm just going to show you how to do it anyway. So I don't know if you can see that, but 19 has pump 2. We could probably just leave that, but like I said, I'm going to show you how to do it. So here we have one pump and nothing else, so we're at 21. So we want it at 21, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So first thing you're going to do is turn off the power. Get yourself a little screwdriver, small so you can get it. You want to move this first one. You want to move it up. Okay. So all the rest of them are down except this one here. We want that one up. So this one's up. And then we're going to turn the power back on. And what this does is it's in the test mode, so we can program it. And you got about, after you turn it on, you got about 25 seconds to program it. Our menu. And I'm just going to bypass it here. So you see on T for test. So we're going to go menu, test, setup. 21, so we want, keep on pushing that until it flashes, and we want, oh yeah, we want 21. Okay. It's on. Now if you had another pump, if we set it to 19, we would have had 2 pumps. So if I push this, you would have heard some clicking in the spa pack. So we could add another pump, but So it's on low speed, set our temp. Put the cover back on. Now this is a good example of, see that ground right there? When I pushed the wire in, it moved over and it touched it, that neutral right there. So check everything all over again. Make sure when you put that ground in, push all of it that way. So we pop the breaker. So we got to make sure it's off, and then we're going to move that over. So you turn the breaker off. We're going to have to, it's touching, so we're going to have to move that ground. So there you go, we moved it far enough away. I would suggest to put some tape on that. Okay, we're going to turn it back on. That's a good sign it stayed on. So hopefully it never fried anything. They go through its programming. Reset your temp. Got high speed, got low speed. Make sure you bolt down that pump so there's not that torque, and then put your 2 screws. Got one here and one right there. Put the door back on and make sure no wire is going to touch anywhere. And that's how you put a BP7 in for a retrofit.